Hello, everybody. Welcome to another review from the Power Bomb Project. I'm one of your hosts, Daniel, joined by my other two hosts.
It's bourbon.
Chris again.
So today, oh my god, that voice crack. So today, we're talking about one of the Wrestle Kingdoms that a lot of people regard as one of the best. And is it one of the best? In my personal opinion, I would say no. But is it a great Wrestle Kingdom? Absolutely. So, Berman and Chris, any general thoughts before we dive into this pay-per-view?
I say it was a pretty fun pay-per-view. Definitely, it's really interesting to me looking back on on older wrestlers that you don't see, like Cody Rhodes, Funky Vice. A lot of these people went to different places and got better and better, or got worse and worse. So it's really interesting to see this again.
I will say I know people are overhyping it, but it's just for one particular match. I think that's why it's getting the reputation it is. People saying that Wrestle Kingdom 11 is one of the best things ever, but I thought it was okay. Not every single match in this card was that great, to be honest, in my opinion. But we'll get into it later as we go into each match and whatnot.
All right. Now we kick things off with Tiger Mask W, who was Kota Ibushi, versus Tiger the Dark, who was ACH. So I thought this was a fun, simple, good kickoff for Wrestle Kingdom 11. You know, it didn't really go the distance that much. It was just a quick and simple, fun match to kick off the show. I would go in depth with it, but I don't feel like there's too much to really go in depth for when it comes to this match. You know, I enjoyed it simply. It's just a little fun match. That's all. That's it. That's really all I can say. Hoda wins, and overall, I'd have to give it a 7.
Yeah, for me, I think it was a good match too, but I just was not feeling it with seeing the masks and everything. It was like super bulky masks that was like, it's not like a tiger mask where it was super, like more like a luchador mask. This was very heavy mask. I just didn't like that. It just felt weird, and I just didn't vibe with me this match. Even though it was a good match, it just didn't vibe with me. I still probably give it I say 6.5 with that just tiny crap I have.
Yep, I'll do the same. It wasn't anything crazy, but for what it was a cute little fan service, and then they also got the voice actors of the anime. So if you're a big fan of it, that's great. As the match itself, it wasn't anything great, but it was fine. It was just fun. It was a good opener. There we go. That's the proper way to say it.
I personally say it was kind of like a promotional match in a way. You know.
Anime.
What would you rate the match, Chris?
The 7. It was
okay. For sure. Next, we move on to the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. It is the Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice. So I think this was another good match. I thought, the Young Bucks did their job in terms of, playing the heels in this match. And, Rocky was kind of left in a 2-on-1 disadvantage through a little portion of the match. And, it helped the crowd get into it more, I guess you could say. And, yeah, in the end, Roppongi Vice beat the Young Bucks to become the new tag team champions. And, the ending itself was actually pretty cool from what I remembered. So I remember the Young Bucks were setting up their finisher, but, Beretta kind of stopped the mat, and then Ramiro was able to pin Nick with a crucifix. So, a cool little ending right there. I digged it. Overall, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, to me, this was a fun match. I should probably one of my second, maybe third favorites in this whole entire pay-per-view, just because it was very fun to see these guys, and it was really fun to see the Young Bucks do moves that you don't see them do actually so often, weirdly enough. But yeah, you're right. It was the Young Bucks were trying to do the more bang for your buck. Trent stopped one of them for doing one of them, and then Romero crucifix then got the win. So it was very cool to see. I really like the match myself, so I actually would give this a 7.5 for me.
And Yep, I'm gonna also give it a 7 just for the fact that the Young Bucks it felt more grounded than their usual like flips and kicks and shit like that. It was a good mix up between like standard play and how they usually go about it. I thought for a hot second the Young Bucks were definitely gonna like take the victory, but it kind of shocked me seeing like these guys because let me see if I can pronounce their name correctly and not butcher it.
Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta, who are, funny enough, actually the best friends now. Well, Rocky Romero is like associated with the best friends, but Trent is one of the best friends in AEW now.
Thank you, because for like a hot second I was like, wait a minute, I recognize these two. So it kind of tells you that they're still mid even in AEW. So whatever. But the match itself it was good.
I kind of told you the blame is on AEW for when it comes to these guys.
But they suck. Nah, they don't.
I don't think they do.
They're just okay.
I think they could be utilized better, but not. They don't have to be champions, but just utilized better, I guess.
Yeah.
So next up, I would pronounce every name in this, but I'm not going to. It's a gauntlet match for the never open weight 6-man tag team championship, and you got multiple teams in here. And honestly, it's a really fun match. It's a really fun match. That's what I could say. You got some key players in here, like Ricochet, Will Ospreay, Adam Page. And funny enough, these guys went on to become bigger names later after this. Will Ospreay was in the junior heavyweight division. So, he wasn't even in the heavyweight division yet. And Ricochet was about to get signed to WWE the following year. And then Adam Page, he was about to become one of AEW's rising stars when AEW happened. So, again, this is just a funny match. And then when you look at one of the teams here, Evil, Bushi, and Sonata now is kind of going through an interesting arc and could become the IWGP Heavyweight Champion against Okada in a few weeks. So, again, it's just very interesting when you look at some of the people in this match and look at where they are now. So, again, I had a lot of fun with this. I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It's interesting, too. And I know you mentioned, too, that David Finlay. Like, David Finlay was with Ricochet and the other guy. But now he's with the Bullet Club, kind of trying to be the leader. And you see Chado. Now he's with Tom Tonga. You see Yoshihashi, who's now the best tag team in the world. It's really interesting to see people you don't see very often. You see from the old days come into the new days, which have been interesting to see. And I think I can't wait to see, including Sonata. I'm hoping he gets that title. So I hope he gets that title against Okada. I hope so. Definitely, was a fun match. I say 7.5.
And honestly, same here. It was actually kind of a trip seeing how my favorite wrestlers, as for Ricochet, Will Ospreay, and Hangman Page, how they used to look like when they were younger. It kind of threw me off, and I was like, they have younger bodies. But the match itself, it was cool. I liked it. It was decent. And I think every team got like a pretty open shot against each other, so I wasn't really on my feet the whole time while watching this match. So it's very enjoyable. So I'm gonna give it like an 8. I really liked it. One of my favorites.
Yeah, just a very fun, gauntlet match, in my opinion. So, moving on. Match 4. Cody Rhodes versus Juice Robinson. So this was actually only 8 months after Cody Rhodes left WWE. And just a month before this match, it was announced that Cody would debut in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he would be joining the Bullet Club. So this was his New Japan Pro Wrestling debut. So not only did he debut at WWE's biggest show of the year, he also debuted at New Japan Pro Wrestling's biggest show of the year. So won't you think about the irony right there? Now, as for the match itself, it was good. It wasn't anything special, but it basically did its job. It did what it needed to do to establish Cody Rhodes in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He won with the Crossroads, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it was fun. I still love to see that Cody Rhodes and still using the same music, obviously. It was fun to see. And it's still kind of weird to see him with black hair instead of blonde hair, because I've been seeing him more time with blonde hair now, so it's kind of weird to see him. But it was really funny to see, and even Juice Robinson, who right now is in Bullet Club, so it's kind of funny to me. So to see Juice Robinson, the flamboyant, I forgot his name, full name he had, but flamboyant. It was very fun to see this match to me, to see these two. It was fun to see Cody Rhodes as black-haired, a little bit meaner than you see him. So I really like to see this. So I do 7 for me.
I'll also do the 7, but I would love the fact that I know Cody's never going to do this ever again, but his heel tendencies were like so good for this match of him just being like a little shit and just making fun of Juice Robinson the entire time. He's like, you ain't shit, buddy. You're not going to touch me. But, of course, Cody Rhodes is never going to do this again, and it makes me sad because it was actually pretty entertaining and kind of shocking to see he's a pretty damn good heel. But he's a better heel than a face. But whatever.
He is.
He's not going to do it because he's a coward. And WWE won't do it.
He's officially locked into the John Cena position where he can't turn heel when all the kids love him. And he did this on purpose. You know he did.
I know he did. You son of a bitch. With your shitty ass tattoo.
The next tattoo.
It's trash, man.
Well, what would you rate the match?
I'll give it like a 6. It was average. It was just like you said, it was a stepping stone for Cody Rhodes, and it did its job and established him as a heel and a good faction for the Bullet Club members. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, all these voice cracks right now. What the fuck? The ROH Championship match. Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole. And this is the funny fact. Kyle O'Reilly won the championship only 1 month before this, beating Adam Cole at ROH Final Battle. And I'm actually going to fact check this right now. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Kyle O'Reilly's reign was only like 3 weeks. Let me double check this.
3 weeks?
Let me double check this just to make sure.
Berman, imagine you sign up for Ring of Honor, right? You finally accomplish your dreams of becoming the ROH champion. Just for Tony to be like 3 weeks.
1 month.
That's still pretty bad.
33 days.
I bet he didn't even defend it until like right now.
Yeah, this was his first title defense, actually. So he didn't even defend it successfully once in his entire reign. So this was the first time. I guess what happened was Adam Cole lost the belt to Kyle, and it was like a feel-good moment, because here's the thing. In Ring of Honor, he was more of a tag guy than a singles guy, in a way, because of Red Dragon. So Kyle was never really viewed as that guy for Ring of Honor, unfortunately. So they gave him the belt kind of as like a moment, and Adam just won it back a month later. So it was more for like the moment rather than the reign, which is, kind of like a Mick Foley thing, if you think about it. So that's like the best way I could describe it. As for the match itself, it was just a standard wrestling match for them. I feel like they've had better encounters with each other in not just NXT, but also Ring of Honor. Is this a bad match, though? No, I don't think it is. I think it's good. Is it excellent? No. Adam Cole, again, like I said, with all that, wins the belt back. And I'll just give it a 7 out of 10 and move on from this match.
Yeah, you already said that technically they had so many better matches in NXT, Black and Gold, or like 2 matches that was amazing, and they had a great job. They're probably way better than this one. This is probably the lower one I would feel out of the big roster of matches they had both had. To me, it was still a fun match, even though that Adam Cole did taunt way too many times and screwed. It was just a little bit too much, but still, it was a fun match. I still give it a 7. Still,
I'm gonna be the black sheep because I thought this was literally the worst match of the whole pay-per-view, because Adam Cole just kept spamming his stupid taunt for like maybe 5 to 6 minutes and getting interrupted. It was cringe. The match itself was fine, but like you guys say, Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole probably had better matches, but this definitely wasn't. This was stupid, and I would have rather watched this on Rampage than this garbage ass match on Wrestle Kingdom 11. It's getting a 4. It's trash.
All right.
Adam Cole.
Passionate rant from
for
Chris
10
right there.
minutes.
Passionate rant
Bro,
from Chris right there.
You're in a Japanese crowd, like nobody gives a fuck. You're cringe.
You know what? I will say this. I did feel like they were kind of snubbed on time.
And then they wasted it with Adam Cole just saying his name. Oh man, if he does this shit at Double or Nothing, I'm gonna be like the same thing right now, man. And he's gonna hear my ass because I'm gonna be in the front row, and I'm like, can you not?
All right.
Whatever.
Next match. IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. Triple threat. Gorillas of Destiny versus GBH versus Chaos. I thought it was good. Again, another good match. I feel like I'm starting to sound like a broken record with all these, but that's really the way I could describe this show. It's honestly just a lot of consistency when it comes to the in-ring quality of this show, and that's honestly one of the biggest compliments I could give about this show. It is very consistent from an in-ring standpoint, and I genuinely appreciate that. I will say that for sure. So basically, what happened in this match, or the winners of this match, ended up being Ishii and Yano from Chaos, and Gorillas of Destiny were the champs walking in, but yeah, they lost the belts here. And I feel like it was fine on time. You know, it felt like it wasn't too short, but it wasn't too long. And really, that's the best way I could describe this match, I suppose. Overall, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, this was fun. It was a fun match. It was surprising to me that Tori. I always kind of forget about the matches. So that Toriano and freaking Ishii won the match, because right now Toriano's a joke. He's just a guy who just plays around, and he's still a joke now. But it was surprising that he still won the titles from them in a fourth threat match. It was kind of funny at the same time. So I think it was fun to see that happen. It was interesting to see. Again, I said that again, so I would say 7 for me again.
And I'll give it a 7 too. The only thing I was mad about, I didn't like that the Girls of Destiny lost, because I was actually getting into them, and they were probably like my favorite part of this whole match. So I don't know how long they had those titles, but I personally felt like it was the wrong winner. They should have just retained, because those guys are great, and I want to watch more of their stuff.
I'll fact check it right now. And actually, they are split up today, unfortunately. But Tama Tonga is basically a singles competitor right now, and he's actually doing pretty well in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, he definitely feels like he's, making his name a little bit right now. And then his partner, Tonga Loi, I haven't really heard much about him.
I feel like he's injured right now. Tama Tonga right now is that never open weight champion right now. Tama Tonga is injured. I don't know how long or anything.
I see. Okay.
Man.
Well, this is how long they were champs. I'm beating around the bush here.
You said bush.
Oh. All right. They were champs for 86 days, so 12 weeks. About 3 months.
That's all right, I guess.
Yeah. The people they beat for the titles was actually the Briscoes. Interesting.
I wonder if it's on Ring of Honor. No, it's probably like New Japan, huh?
Yeah, New Japan content.
Oh, damn it.
So, next match is going to be the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. The champion Kushida facing Hiromu Takahashi. This is just a great match. Honestly, one of my favorite matches on the entire show. This is fast-paced. You have Kushida going off with some great dives and great fast-paced moves. And honestly, you have Takahashi just having some great offense as well. Series of German suplexes and other stuff. There was the Hurricanrana botch, unfortunately, but that's like the only really notable botch I can think of when it comes to this match. I really had a lot of fun with this one. Takahashi wins. No surprise, because the same thing literally happened at this year's Wrestle Kingdom 6 years later. So this is one of the things about New Japan that just, I feel like needs to stop. Takahashi in this junior heavyweight title. Jesus Christ, you could probably find 3 Wrestle Kingdoms or 4 Wrestle Kingdoms where this happens, where he's the challenger walking in and the champion walking out. But anyways, I think the match was great. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. This is why I always love Hiromu, but I'm still getting tired of him in these days because it's same thing with Okada. It's Okada and Hiromu are like the two stable champions in their stuff. If they're walking in as challengers, they always walk out as champions. They have not. It's been a broken record for them. Don't get me wrong, I love Hiromu and I do love Okada. A little bit too much. They need to lose those titles soon in these days to do this. But in those days, for this match, it was great to see Hiromu win as a different version of himself. Like right now, he's more of a crazy guy. But I think it was very fun to watch, and this is why I always loved him in those days of Hiromu. And I definitely loved Kushida in times too. So for me, 8.
Yeah, and another thing I'd like to add on before Chris talks about the match is that, yeah, absolutely, Takahashi with the junior heavyweight and Okada with the heavyweight feel kind of just synonymous at this point. And what I will say is at this time, we all liked Okada and Hiromu winning the belts a lot, you know? They still felt somewhat fresh at the time. Nowadays, 6 years later, it feels very, very overran. Like it's ran the course.
True. But you know what? You know what got me really mad about this match? Is that they did Kushida so dirty. He was getting his ass kicked for like 90% of the match. I was like, you can't just do that to my boy.
I'd say more like 70-30.
Dude, you might as well just call this a squash match at this point, man.
No, it was not.
No offense by Kushida.
There was not a squash match.
And all the offense he got was a bunch.
No, that's not true. He did hoverboard lock. That was a long time in that freaking hoverboard lock.
That was like
he had the top rope senton dive. He had the freaking backflip elbow. He had many moves in this match.
Okay, that's like 5. They still did him dirty though.
Do you really want me to sit here and list every movie in this match, Chris? That's not what I'm bothered to do.
Listen, man, in order to be an accurate podcast, you have to fact check everything.
Well, oof. Now, all right. Continue your thoughts, though. What's your rating?
No, that's it. No, generally it was really good. I'm gonna give it 8. I would give it a 9 if you would have won, but whatever.
Let me see. How long was Kushida champ? Sorry, guys, we're looking into this info, but it genuinely has me curious now. Let's see. The answer is... he was champion for 2 months, but he defended the belt 4 times in those 2 months.
Oh, so, that's cool. That's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, he might have not been champ for too long, but he had quite a few good defenses.
Well, this wasn't one of them.
Yeah, because he lost. So it wasn't a successful defense. Anyways, now we move on to the Never Openweight Championship match, Shibata versus Goto. This match is an awesome physical war. That's the best way I could describe it. There's, it's stiff, it's brutal, and you have a new champion crowned in Goto. Sadly, Shibata would kind of be gone from the scene after this, and I think he was gone for literally a whole 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, quite unfortunate when it comes down to that. Yeah, so looking at it here, he suffered an injury in 2017. He got injured sometime in summer 2017. So yeah, again, he was out for almost 4 years. Crazy. But yeah, Shibata's back. He's putting on bangers. He's gonna have a banger with Yuta at Ring of Honor. So I'm excited to have Shibata back. And overall, I'd have to give this match a 9 out of 10. It's my second favorite match of the night.
For me, this is probably the same thing. I'm usually the same. The third one was the Roppongi one, but second is definitely this one. I did love Shibata. Shibata's fight style is my favorite type of fight style, which is technical strike type of characters. I love those type of fight styles. It's my favorite thing to see. And I always love Goto. Right now, Goto is the best champion, the best tag team champions in the world right now. I would keep on saying that too with his partner who was on this card. Funny enough, this was a great match, very fun to watch. Definitely for me, I would say 9 out of 10 for me.
And I'll do the same. I'm always a fan of Naito matches, and I'm really glad I got more into his stuff because honestly, this is another banger from the crazy man himself. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Oh, I think you were talking about the IC title.
Oh, never mind.
We're talking about the one before, which was the never open weight.
Oh, sorry. Okay, that one is just as good. People, it's fine. I just misread it. It's fine. It's a good match. At least you now know how I feel about the next match.
Jesus. All right. What would you rate never open weight?
It's a 9.
It's a 9.
It's a 9.
All right. Now what would you rate the IC? Since you already talked about it.
A 9. No, it's an 8.
Right.
It's an 8.
It's an 8. All right.
Sorry, guys. My fucking brain died. I thought we were talking about Naito. I was like, oh, I love Naito.
No, it's all good. No, we love Naito as well, though. So yeah, this was a good match. My main critique about the match between Naito and Tanahashi for the IC title is that I felt like it went too long here. The match was 25 minutes, and again, I just felt like it was too long for what it was. Do I understand why it got that amount of time? Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like they could have had a better match. But, again, it wasn't a bad match. It was still good. You have Naito doing his typical shenanigans. It was fun. And you have Tanahashi putting in a good performance as well. So, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think if you put this before the never open weight and the weight, I think it would have been better for the card. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I think it was a fun match. I did love it. It was a fun match. It was not the best match that they could have done. Same thing. I would remark too. I do love Naito and Tanahashi, but it was not the best match that they had or they could have had. It would definitely been better if they put it above the junior heavyweights. But it was not a bad of a match. This was technically their singles title this was their main singles title for those years, the Intercontinental. So I think it was still fun. I would still give it a 7, maybe 7.5, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, you know what I said already because I fucked up.
Yeah. Now, time for the main event. Okada as the champion versus Kenny Omega as the G1 Climax 26 winner and challenger. And this is for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Now, you guys know they had 4 matches that are highly regarded. And the whole series of matches is considered to be one of the best series in wrestling history. And I don't blame you guys for thinking that. This match was perfect. You got so many crazy things in this match, like from the back body drop through the table. That just looked insane. You also have the suplexes off the top rope, which were just honestly horrifying for the neck, if you think about it. So, yeah, it's perfection. It's a perfection brutal match. And you have this younger Kenny Omega really wanting to prove himself. He betrayed his best friend, joined the Bullet Club, did all these things, and tried to take AJ's spot at the time because he basically became new leader at the time. So this was like huge for him. It's like it's all of this, and if you lose now, then everything you've been saying hasn't really meant anything. And that's exactly what happened. He was not ready for Okada yet. He would be ready soon, but at this time, he was not. So, Okada beat him. A lot of people regard this as one of the best matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling history. Honestly, I would say the exact same thing. I think their 2 out of 3 Falls match at Dominion 2018, where Kenny does get that heavy title, I think that is the best match they had. But I would say this is gladly their second best match in the series. So, Yeah, without a doubt, 10 out of 10, no question.
Yeah, for me, this was a great match too. I loved the 4 matches that they had. This was probably one of the best ones, I would say too. That it was very fun to watch when Kenny was the Bullet Club too. So it was brutal. I would think it was very fun to see. And then it was really funny to me, and I forgot too that I think about that too. That was Gato. I was like, yeah, his name is Gato was behind Okada, but right now he's fully behind Bullet Club. So it's very funny to remember that he was behind Okada for a very long time. So it was too much interesting to think about that, to see the correlations that they were fighting Bullet Club, but now Gato is now with Bullet Club, so it's funny. So this one, even if it was very fun to watch, all these counters, all the counters are probably the best thing to see. These Rainmaker counters, these counter Rainmakers, everything was great to see. There was nothing bad about that match. It was great to see. Definitely 10 out of 10.
And what else can I say, man? It's just perfection. Just for the fact that these two were going at it for how long was the match? Like almost like 50 minutes, from what I
Yeah,
remember.
it went about 47 minutes.
And it's not even the longest match, dude. Like if you thought that shit was crazy, oh
Yeah,
my god,
they
just watch the
They
other
went on to
stuff,
have
dude.
a match that was an hour, and then another match that was over 20 minutes, and their final match, which was over an hour and a half.
It's so good, man. So good.
Yeah, it is. It's honestly the arguable peak of both Omega and Okada's career. So, Chris, without a doubt, it's a 10.
Yeah.
All right. So that was New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 11. Every match was good to perfection, in my personal opinion. And while it may be a long watch, I think the long watch is definitely worth it. And there isn't a match that leaves a bad impression on me overall. I got to give the show an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, for me, there was only one match. It was the first match. Well, it was not a bad match, but I just had to gripe with. I just didn't feel it. But I think it was still, everything was great. I think still it deserves an 8 for me too.
I'll give it a 7.5 because fuck that Adam Cole match. That shit was stupid. Let's give it a 7.5.
All right. Well, 8, 7.5. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Daniel.
You gotta say the words, man.
It's remember.
Oh, it's Chris, man.
I'll see you all in the next. Take it easy.